Hi there, this is Ray Glasser with another edition of the Cleveland Tech Report. Right now we're sitting in Las Vegas, Nevada in early 1985, and we're going to do an interview show today with two of my friends who have been in home video just about as long as I have. We're talking to two magazine writers, matter of fact, Mr. Marc Wielage, who writes for Video Review magazine, plus some others, as well as Mr. Rod Woodcock, who is currently writing for Video magazine, as well as some others. What we're going to center on, like we always do here on the Tech Report, is of course home video. And I'm going to ask these gentlemen, both together, what they think home video has accomplished over the last 10 years, since it is now just about 10 years old. So we're going to start off with Mr. Marc Wielage, giving his views and impressions on how home video has changed over the course of the last decade. Marc, take it away.
For my first impression, I should do Ed Sullivan. But
you can even hold the mic.
Hey, I can hold the mic. Right. I'm in the union. It's okay.
There you go.
Well, home video has changed a lot in the 10 years or so that most of us have been involved with it. I remember the day I bought my first Betamax back in March of '76. In fact, I think I still owe money on that machine, but and it was a pretty momentous occasion for me, and I know a lot of people around the country are discovering the same things I did a long time ago. And who knows, maybe 9 years from now they'll be just as confused as I am now. But anyway, the whole industry has gone into a lot of different kinds of directions that we didn't expect. We never thought there'd be a day when, you know, every ordinary person on the street would own a machine. You know, ma and pa, people walking around, grandmothers, uncles, and so on. You know, everybody, it seems, owns a VCR nowadays. And in a way, that's kind of a sad thing, because when we were all starting out, it was only the crazy techno freaks, the gadget nuts who were into video, and now everybody's into it. Maybe that's taken a little bit of the sparkle and fun out of video for some people, but we try to hold on to our enthusiasm as much as we can and keep it interesting and, you know, try to find fun in it every day. Rod, do you kind of agree with that?
Well, yes, my sentiments are similar to those of Marc. I have not been involved in home video as long as he. I bought my first Betamax in the fall of '77, but in the years that have passed, it's certainly true that we've seen a lot of new products come along, and the technology has advanced to the point where, as Marc has often said, if we could go back in time and take a Beta machine or a VHS machine that's on the market today for $200 or $300 and show it to a 1977 or 78 audience, it would certainly blow their minds to think that that kind of product was ever going to be available. Sometimes when I consider that this is the 9th Consumer Electronics Show that I've attended, and I believe it's the 15th for Marc.
14th, but who's counting?
14th, 15th in June.
Right.
We sometimes feel that we're getting a little jaded, because the first one you attend is literally like a carnival, and as you go to subsequent ones, you start to realize that what we're really witnessing is just business after all, and you get a little, you know, jaded and disinterested in some things. It's hard to maintain your enthusiasm when there's no new products to be seen, but that isn't the case for this show. We've seen some new exciting products which we'll be reporting on in our respective publications, and I think there's still a lot of room for improvement. And as Marc has again pointed out, now we've just approached the point where home video has reached that threshold where it's now a true mass market product, whereas in the early days the VCRs were being purchased by those impetuous innovators, the impulsive innovators, the market people like to call them, the ones who won't let the price prevent them from going out and buying the latest high technology. And these were the people who bought those first Betamaxes and VHS machines and really made this market what it is today, so that we can all afford, you know, to buy $300 Sanyos, Sonys, RCAs, etc.
That's right. So many people forget that it was just a few years ago that a VCR cost well over $1,000, and right now, you know, anybody can run out and buy one for what, $250, $300. And so the video market has matured and changed in ways that we didn't expect. It's paralleled what it took the audio industry 15 or 20 years to do, and that is get prices and quality to the point where everybody could afford a pretty reasonably good machine, at a decent price. And I'm glad to see it happen, but at the same time, I kind of feel that sometimes the people who are running the show back in Tokyo forget about the people who were the innovators, the people who want the high-end super deluxe machines with all the bells and whistles. This is something Rod and I have talked about before, the fact that the magazines we write for, Video and Video Review, look at the mass market more than they look at the technophiles. So that's one of the things Rod and I have done with our magazine Videophiles. We've started a publication just for people who are into video as their main hobby. People who, like I said in some early articles I did for the magazine, people who have oxide in their blood, real crazed videoholics who might have 3 or 4 VCRs and dub tapes, 29 hours a day, and have wall-fulls of thousands of programs that they never have time to watch because they're too busy recording new ones. So video as a hobby is a real good thing, and I think with more and more people getting into it, we'll see even more Videophiles in the future. We've been talking a lot about a lot of general ideas, just philosophies and the way the market has gone and so on. Ray, can you think of any specific technical things like what we were talking about earlier?
I've got a couple. One thing I think we should touch on is the idea of American competition. Now, when you and I got our first Betamaxes, let's say almost 9 or 10 years ago,
Yeah.
we had one format, one speed, monaural sound, and that was it, plus a $16.95 tape, $16.95. Now, about 2 years after Sony invented Betamax, JVC invented VHS, give or take, okay? Then the war began. And something that we discussed last night was the fact that because of competition, we the consumers have enjoyed the end result. Better machines with more features, cheaper machines, so forth and so on. How can you elaborate on that?
I guess you could point out that just like in World War II, the war got a lot of people jobs. Everybody who wasn't in the Army was out making munitions and tanks and guns and bullets and so on. So the same is true in a smaller way of consumer electronics. We've got these giant companies, RCA, Zenith, Sony, and Panasonic, and so on, all fighting this little video war, trying to sell the consumer his product, saying his is better than the other guys. And because they're so competitive, even more competitive than car manufacturers, I think, the consumer gets the benefits. He gets the lower prices because of the competition. He gets new innovations like Beta Hi-Fi, Super Beta, VHS Hi-Fi, stereo sound, all of these bells and whistles. And each one of these has been one little extra thing to keep the marketplace going and to make things exciting. Rod and I have seen some pretty interesting things happen at the show. The newest thing, which I think Ray will be reporting on or already has reported on for Kerry's show, is Super Beta. Rod and I have been reading rumors of Super Beta, I think at least, since 6 months ago? Something like that.
It started at the last Consumer Electronics Show in Chicago in June.
And as you know, this is a new system designed to get more picture quality out of the beta format. Picture quality has always been the primary concern of Videophiles, and that's something we debate, long into the wee hours of the night, which format has got the best picture quality. Well, now I think Beta has won that contest, at least for the short run, with a video cassette format that pretty much challenges anything that can be broadcast on television. So I think for the moment, Beta's ahead in that area. What we can't say is how John Q. Public will take this new innovation. Is this something that's going to make Sony more money and win some more consumers over to the Beta camp, or is it going to matter? We don't know yet. So
well, it just might be, reflecting on the fact that this is 1985 and that the first Betamax appeared in 1975. I'm not a market analyst, but it seems that there's always some sort of strategy involved in the introduction of products, and it may be that now in in the '84, we've seen home video as a business and as a hobby and as a new real cultural change in the way we watch and appreciate television has been given the seal of approval by mainstream magazines like Time and Newsweek, both of which had large cover stories on home video. So we've really entered that mass market age, and occasionally when products are available like VCRs for a couple of $100s, you wonder about those people I told you of earlier who went out and made this market by spending thousands of dollars to get equipment which is now going for $50 or $60 at swap meets. So perhaps this introduction of Super Beta is an indication that the manufacturers haven't totally given up on the high-end, I would call them video connoisseurs, who are true videophiles and are now looking for some product that will challenge them, or a counterpoint to the Beta Hi-Fi system, which gave us very good quality audio a little more than a year or 2 years ago, and now we have a video equivalent of it. And of course, it's not a system that's going to be exclusive to Beta. They have it for the time being, but as we've already determined by questioning people at the Sony, the Beta Group press conference, the system can be applied to VHS and 8mm formats as well. So in due time, since this market has benefited greatly from this Beta VHS rivalry for the last decade, we'll see the same improvements available in competing formats. And that, I think, is going to be good news to all those people who want quality video to go with the quality audio they have. So.
Let's see, Ray, I'll turn it over to you since he's the guy running the show here.
Be that as it may. For the public watching, I do have to say one thing at this point. Now, you see all three of us on the picture at one time. All three of us, myself and Marc and Rod, believe in the Beta format. We think it is better in some ways than VHS. All three of us have at least 2 or 3 Betamaxes, in most cases more. What I want to ask you guys now, and tying in with this 10-year wrap-up, as it were, of home video, why, in your opinion, has VHS won so many more followers?
Normally I'd hand this over to Rod because he's written about this same thing in Video Magazine several times. Rod was instrumental in putting together 2 articles on Beta versus VHS for Video Magazine, but he and I agree almost 100% down the line exactly what went wrong with Beta being the dominant format. I mean, in 1976, Sony had 100% of the home video market. Right now, I think at best they have, what is it, about 14%?
25.
No, we're talking about Sony.
Oh, just Sony.
Just Sony as a company, I think they have less than 14%, and Beta as a format has well under 35, 40% at best. And the reasons are long and involved, but the bottom line is, in the beginning, in 76 and 77, Sony thought they were a big company and could do it all themselves, that they didn't need the help of any other American marketing companies like RCA and, well, not Zenith, of course Zenith did join them, but RCA and the other Central American brands like Magnavox and Sylvania, GE, sure. So I think that was their critical problem. They didn't sign up enough companies to join with them on the Beta format. The other problem was they were so smug in their view of how the format should be designed and what features it should have, that they were very slow to grab onto important technical innovations that VHS developed first, such as longer playing time by slowing the tape speed down. What would be some other innovations? Things like programmable VCRs that allow you to tape several different shows.
That was an important one.
Sure, over a period of a couple of weeks.
Picture search, the biggie.
Well, actually,
Picture search was originated by
Sony did develop picture search
Right.
first.
Yeah.
But one thing that VHS had before Beta, I think, would be full function remote control.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
Now this is, I've cataloged all these things in articles written in Video Magazine and in memorandums sent to the Sony Corporation.
Yeah, I should mention that both Rod and I had corresponded with Sony for a long time. I've got in my files a letter I sent to Sony before the summer of 1976, essentially telling them that 1 hour was not enough, and they would have to very quickly develop a 90-minute tape, if not a 2-hour tape. We we were naive enough to believe at that time that a 2-hour recording at the original Beta 1 speed would be possible, but of course we were wrong.
To paraphrase a famous commercial, Sony is a very proud company and will sell no Betamax before its time. And
Really, I think that's baloney. You know, Sony, no baloney.
frequently they would see a new trend in the marketing of the competing format take place, such as programmability. That feature, to change channels and record different programs on different channels, that feature appeared on a Matsushita-built RCA machine as early as 1978, and it was 2 years later before we saw a programmable machine from Sony. So they're a difficult company to describe. I wouldn't say that they haven't innovated a lot of technology, because it's true they have. They were the ones that developed double azimuth special effects, which gives the so-called crystal clear special effects on screen. The list is I can't think of any right now because it's late at night and I'm a little tired, but there are many things that they thought of first which have been imitated by VHS, and other people have written that Sony spends a great deal of their money in research and development coming up with these things, puts them in their products, and then watches other companies stand back and take the same idea and apply it to their products and make more money at it, because they haven't had to put the research and development costs into thinking up these ideas and perfecting them in the lab.
We can come up with several things that Sony came up with first. We mentioned picture search, that is watching the images
search, right,
at very high speed, zipping through a tape. If you want to watch, say, the evening news in 5 minutes, you can do that. You may not understand everything that's being said, but that's one thing you can do.
Beta hi-fi, recording the audio signal with the video signal. This was something, again, that Sony originated, and then VHS was forced to match, which they ultimately did. And I think that it's safe to say that there's virtually no technology in helical scan recording that can be invented by one camp that the other camp cannot match, given one limitation, which is that Beta has a higher writing speed, for those people who are into this technically, and will always deliver a better picture quality and better sound quality.
Now, Rod, I should remind you, a good writer should never use two words, and those two words are never and always. So you shouldn't say that they can always use this. They can use it, but they can't always use it.
Well, you've run rings around me logically, so.
Okay, back to Ray here.
Thank you. We're running short on time, so I have one quick question. Yes, we only have 20 minutes.
I'm just warming up.
I know. We have one quick question to kind of wrap this up. I'm going to pass this first to Mark. He's got 90 seconds, then to Rod for 90 seconds. What direction will home video take, in your opinion, in the next 10 years?
Straight down the drain. Over to Rod. No, home video is going to be making a lot of money over the next few years, and by God, I hope I get some of it. But I think it's going to do extremely well. We just heard a speech tonight by the president of RCA, Jack Sauter, who predicted, 15 million machines? Well, I think between 12 and 15 million VCRs will be sold in 1985. Last year, only 9 million machines were sold. Isn't that right? 9 million.
Roughly 9 million machines.
So we're talking about a 50% increase in 1 year, which is pretty good. So I'd say the industry is going to be doing even better than ever. And even though our hearts belong to Beta, I think there are going to be significant gains for both Beta and VHS.
Well, I'll talk about 8mm in my 90 seconds. I think in the next decade we will see more sophisticated home video products. Beta and VHS are not going to disappear. We will continue to see refinements in both formats, offering more features on screen. Programming is something that's coming up. They haven't exhausted their list of bells and whistles yet. We will also see super high fidelity video, or super VHS, super Beta, whatever name they care to give it, and 8mm. Although it seems to be getting off to a sluggish start, this is a system that definitely has potential, and will be coming along from Kodak, Polaroid, Canon, Fisher, Sanyo, and virtually every other company, Sony, Fuji. So we're going to see a lot of new products. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Hey, what a finish.
Right on. Okay, this has been Ray Glasser talking to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. with two of my personal friends, Mr. Marc Wielage, Mr. Rod Woodcock. We thank both of you. Maybe we'll see you again in 10 more years with another wrap-up of home video. One more thanks I do have to give is to another man that has sat beside me on these tech reports in the past, Mr. Art Volo, who came in from California tonight to work the camera. Good night.